Alright, happy holidays versus Merry Christmas. I grew up in a Christian household. Of course, we celebrated Christmas. Every year, we would tell everyone Merry Christmas. I would say like the day after Thanksgiving, we would be willing to start saying Merry Christmas to everyone we saw. That greeting would last at least until New Year's. Some of the more religious people in my family were more insistent that the Christmas season lasted for months after Christmas, and that Christmas was just the start of the Christmas season, and so they would use that greeting well into the next year. Even though around here, actually leaving your Christmas lights up past January 15th is a misdemeanor. And so, of course, as a little kid, like that's what I grew up with, so that's all I knew, and then I just kind of went along with it, because that's just what you do. And then, you become a teen, you start questioning everything, trying to figure stuff out for yourself, instead of just blatantly taking everyone's word for everything. And then, you go from being a Christian to an atheist, and then dealing with like existentialism and nihilism, and having many attempts at absurdism, and then slipping back into nihilism, but all the while still just kind of doing Christmas because it's what you do, because it's what I knew. And then there's the happy holidays people, and the religious members of my family would get very, very offended and triggered and upset when people would say happy holidays to them, and they would take it as an insult, as an attack on their Christmas season, as an attack on their religion, as an attack on their identity as a religious person, as someone that celebrates Christ. And so, of course, growing up, I just kind of adopted this same way of thinking, where I would be upset when people would say Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. But then, I started questioning everything and kind of rejecting religion, and spending some time exploring what life would be like without religion. And I began to realize there's a lot more holidays than just Christmas and Hanukkah. There's Kwanzaa, and honestly, I don't even... Oh, and there's Yule. And, but yeah, honestly, I don't even know what all there is. All I'm aware of is that there are so many other holidays than just Christmas that happen around the same time period. And as I mentioned in yesterday's video, I kind of decided I just don't want to associate myself with Christmas anymore. I just don't really like the holiday. And so the only thing I do celebrate is the solstice. And I say celebrate because I don't really do anything for the solstice. I don't take off of work. I don't have like traditions or rituals or whatever. I just use it as a reminder to try to have something to be grateful for. It's just an acknowledgement and reminding myself to be grateful for the fact that the days are now getting longer, and to hold on to that hope to help get me through the literal dark days that are still yet ahead, because we have short days, long nights, very little sunlight, and so it's like it's uphill from here. The days are getting longer, but it takes time for that to happen. So, you hold on to that hope to help get you through. And so that's kind of all I do. I don't really celebrate the solstice in any sort of like spiritual way, although I'll dabble in that sometimes, just because I feel like the human brain does require some sense of reverence, but that's something I have yet to explore in more detail for myself. But anyway, so the last several years, I've not really associated myself with being a Christmas person, and even occasionally kind of entertaining the idea of being a bah humbug type person, because it's a fun persona to put on, and it's fun to get reactions. And then you got the people like my coworker who wears the blinking light antlers and the bells on her whole outfit and whatever, and then I'm the bah humbug, and it's hilarious to see that kind of clashing. In a friendly way, of course. I'm not going to bash her for celebrating the way she wants to celebrate. If she enjoys that, if that's what brings her happiness in these literal dark days when the days are short and there's not enough sunlight around, then if that's what brings her happiness, then so be it. She can go ahead and do that, and I will just get here and be annoyed by her bells. And I can just kind of try to remind myself to try to enjoy the bells the way the younger me would, and be like, yes, loud bells, ha ha ha, jingle bells. Anyways, I'm getting on so many tangents today. Right, okay, so back to the point is I would get annoyed when people would assume that I celebrate Christmas. And so I kind of thought to myself, well, this must be how the Hanukkah people feel when we say Merry Christmas to them. Out of simply wanting to be kind to people, I began saying Happy Holidays because I didn't want to assume that everyone celebrates Christmas. And I think the entire point of the phrase Happy Holidays is to avoid offending people or avoid annoying people and just be like, hey, whatever holiday you celebrate, may it be happy. So it's absolutely ridiculous that the Christians, or at least the ones I know, would be offended by this when that's not at all the intent. The intent is to be like, hey, I don't care what you celebrate, I just want you to have a good time doing it, and I wish you well. Very recently, probably within like the last week, I suddenly had this realization of the juxtaposition between my now mindset versus like when I was a little kid, and like seeing who I am now from that perspective and realizing like, oh, I've become a Happy Holidays person. And even though I've been saying Happy Holidays instead of Christmas for several years now, it just like, it shocked me of like, oh, that's a new perspective. Or to see my new perspective from an old perspective. And of course I will say Merry Christmas on Christmas and like even Christmas Eve, and I'll say it, Merry Christmas to people that I know celebrate Christmas. I'm not going to say Happy Holidays to them because then they're going to be upset by it. So yeah, if I know someone's celebrating Christmas, then of course I'll just say Merry Christmas to them. More so I use Happy Holidays when I'm speaking to random people. Especially right now working in retail, I see a lot of random people, or like I'll answer the phone and help them out with the problem, and then I'll say, all right, take care, Happy Holidays, instead of like the normal, okay, thanks for calling, have a good day. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, and it would be interesting to me to hear your thoughts on all this as well. So whatever you celebrate, I hope you have a Happy Holidays. Oh yeah, New Year's gets looped in that too. All the holidays. Also, as more people switch to Happy Holidays instead of saying Merry Christmas, I think it'd be fascinating to see if the word merry just kind of disappears entirely eventually, because I don't think I've ever heard anyone say merry outside of the context of Merry Christmas or May Your Christmas Be Merry and Bright, or however those song lyrics go. Although, on the contrary, you also have Christmas lights, and those will probably all be called Christmas, and those, I imagine, would probably always be called Christmas lights even if Christmas went away entirely, because holiday lights sounds weird, or winter lights, string lights. Nah, it's Christmas lights, even if they're not for Christmas. I put up Christmas lights, even though I don't celebrate Christmas, I just enjoy the aesthetic of them.